An incredible story, Leo, of schools being told to deal in scientific fact.
Yeah, I can't believe this. They're rolling back some of the sort of gender woo-woo that they've been propagating in schools. So schools are now going to record whether pupils are boys or girls rather than asking them what their gender identity is. So the gender, the sex that they record is going to match the biological sex on their birth certificate. Because there's a fashion at the moment for kids, and like parents, friends that I know who've got teenage kids, say that like half the class is identifying as non-binary or trans or whatever, which it seems unlikely that just in the space of a few years, everybody would have suddenly become, transgender or non-binary or whatever it is. It's a social contagion. It's like, it's like lichen Bros or double denim or mullets or whatever. It's just this one might be harder to grow out if you go the full hog with it. But yeah, so now schools are being told to stick with biological fact rather than,
I think the policy change in schools is what encourage kids to do this too, because the teachers are expected to tell the parents immediately when their students identify themselves as a gender different from the gender they're born in. So I think the kids are seeing their friends doing it and thinking, hey, wait, I want that too. I want to be cool like them. And then I want to make my parents worried or angry or nervous, or I want the conversation at the dinner table not to be about me. You know what I mean? I think they're trying to establish themselves.
I'd argue it's the opposite of that, because schools have been hiding the fact. So I think it's more like that they're going, we want to keep a secret from our parents.
Well, they're saying about 28% of the schools are not reporting it. That's why they're coming forward and saying, if you're going to do it, you have to do it. But on the forms, what we want is the fact. But in class, if this kid identifies, you have to call the parents. So I think the policy is set to protect both the schools and the students.
It's almost like they're being adults.
And the schools are saying, they've been begging the government for some sort of clear standards at some point, because the schools are skating on real thin ice with this, trying to deal with some sort of social issue that they're not, quote-unquote, educated to cope with. And so they're in the middle of this. It sounds to me, actually, as though it's a struggle between families and kids, and the schools get kind of caught in the middle. You know what I mean?
Which is not where they should be.
Well, they feel invisible in their homes for whatever reason. They think this will make them more important.
But, Leah, does this remind you of the whole census scandal where they were just going to record like whatever you felt like your gender was? Like that's This is the problem with conflating gender and sex, and which is why now the EHRC is going to step in to go, right, this is what sex means. Biology.
I've noticed on so many government forms that I fill out when I'm applying for grants as a transgender skateboarder or whatever it is that you can get money for this week. They ask for your biological sex now. So many NHS forms, it's your biological sex. It's not, are you Six Spirit, Navajo Indian identifying, whatever. And, I mean, the thing that really should bring it home to people as to how this could be problematic is, can you imagine people identifying as a different race? Me putting down that, actually I'm a Nigerian woman. It's a nonsense. But how is that any different from me identifying as something different to my biological sex?
When it's feelings or whatever. But the funny thing, I saw something in America, like some pull-down menu that just went on and on on. Like crazy stuff. And you just think, the good thing here is now you're just going to go like, oh, male, female, oh, great, there we go.
I know, I've been to my doctors in the US, and it's like, are you a he, she, them, they, that, and by the time you're done, you don't know who you are. You've kind of forgotten by the time you get to the end of the list. And I think, in a way, I like that, as a diverse person in the past, although gay white men now are as boring as a log of wood. But in the old days, when we had a wild card, I appreciate trying to represent people on a form. It makes, in a way, the doctor's job a bit easier, because by the time you wind up in the seat facing them, they know a little bit more about you.
But when it comes to medical stuff, sure. I mean, actually, the reason why I'm sitting here is because a couple of years ago, I was filling out a thing for my 6-year-old daughter's get her jabs, she, not the COVID jabs, the form just was like non-binary. It was all this stuff for like a 6-year-old girl. Yeah, and I was just, and I remember, and then I messaged Andrew, I knew a little bit. I said, have you seen, this is madness. And he was like, oh, I'm doing headliners, you want to come on? And I was like, yeah, right.
I wish they had a box for, do you feel like a 6-year-old girl? I'd like to take that one off sometime. And then just go in a room and have a cry by myself. That's what I want to do.
So it doesn't make you a 6-year-old girl, it just makes you a modern man.
All right.
Sticking with the male and